This is a story that is creating a political storm all across the country. The SIT report, an inquiry ordered by the Supreme Court. The report is finally out. Tehelka and Headlines Today are broadcasting it this evening. And the CPM is demanding that Narendra Modi should step down now to allow a fair trial because the report has deeply indicted him. Joining us for perspective, Abhishek Manu Singhvi of the Congress Party. Nirmala Sitharaman joins me in the studio from the BJP. Shoma Chaudhary is the managing editor of Tehelka magazine. It is Tehelka that has scooped these documents. We've got Harinder Baveja, Headlines Today's editor, investigations. She in fact has worked on several stories relating to the post-Godhra investigations, and she in fact deposed before this special investigation team. Also with us is Javed Akhtar, one of India's leading lyricists who's followed the Godhra riots and its aftermath very closely. With us also is Javed Anand, human rights activist, again tracking this case very, very closely. Big issue, Narendra Modi deeply indicted. Political temperatures are hot, but what should really one make of this report? I want to start with Shoma. It's your publication that's brought this out into the public domain. Opposition will say, the BJP will say in Narendra Modi's defense that the report concludes by saying that there is insufficient evidence to prosecute him, which means that Narendra Modi in some senses cannot be acted against. He's been given a clean chit.
Well, Rahul, in fact, that is part of the problem. You know, when you read the SIT report, there are so many very, very grave charges on which the SIT has found Narendra Modi guilty. They have passed a lot of harsh language on him. But the fact that they have concluded that he can't be probed further is a measure of how toothless the SIT was to begin with. They did not have powers to seize, to raid, to really summon. You know, everything was voluntary disclosures. None of what they were doing was really binding. They were merely taking testimonies and statements from people. Many of them were police officers who were themselves indicted in these riots and implicated in these riots. So we really have to look at what their findings were, not what their conclusion is. I think there is sufficient in this report to put any sort of right-thinking leader on the back foot. If I was Narendra Modi, I would step down and ask for a fair trial to be held. I think there should be a criminal investigation that is held so that a lot of the loopholes in this report can be further investigated. What is true is that upfront, this is a terrible indictment of Narendra Modi's leadership.
Nirmala Sitharaman, the SIT concludes, and its findings against Modi includes that Modi had a communal mindset, made inflammatory speeches, destroyed crucial records, appointment of Sangh members as public prosecutors, illegally positioning ministers in police control rooms during the riots, and persecution of neutral officers. Prakash Karat, speaking to Headlines Today, has demanded that Narendra Modi step down to allow a free trial.
First of all, I would like to ask you, how authentic is this on the basis of which today's discussion is going on? The SIT, after all, has given its report on a sealed envelope to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is in the due process of hearing it. We from the BJP have great faith in the SIT and on the Supreme Court's looking into this process. We feel complete justice will be done for the Chief Minister of Gujarat and for justice and for the BJP in this matter. But having said that, from what you claim as the report that you're talking about, first of all, you've raised about 4 or 5 different issues on each of which there are enough answers that we can give. But having raised this issue of authenticity, I want to go on record that the response that I'm giving you here is more on what you claim as the report rather than what actually is being in the sealed cover. So I really do not know whether this is actually the report. If for a minute I want to take this point as a discussion point, there are 3 points which you're raising here. One, that ministers were found in police control room. There's nothing to tell you there whether it was the chief minister who sent them there, and even if ministers are sitting there, they would probably be there because they are, as ministers, they're concerned about the rights. They would have to see what is going on.
Rahul,
nothing. Just a minute. Let me. Having thrown so many allegations, I think I should be given my fair chance to at least respond once. After which you're entitled to ask me any number of questions. That is one thing. The ministers would be there to understand and make sure that nothing goes further, wrong in the rights, and people would have to be treated fairly. Second thing is, as regards the appointments of the public prosecutors, let me tell you that after BJP came into power from 1997, the process of recruiting public prosecutors in Gujarat, it goes through a system where the DM and the sessions judge sit together and then have a panel of names sent, and based on which the High Court would nominate the public prosecutor. The Gujarat government has nothing to do with it. And as and when, and as regards the cases which are in the Supreme Court, the nomination for the public prosecutor is being made by the SIT, and without consultation, the Gujarat government has named those who have been selected by the SIT.